This video is going to look at when we multiply for the first time. Times tables are very important because they'll be used in all sorts of maths and they allow us to do things quicker. So we're going to see a couple of easier examples here when we look at our 5 times table and our 10 times table. So let's start off with the 10 times table. Just what is multiplication? Well, by here we've got an example where the top we've got 10 kittens and down the bottom we've got another 10 kittens, two lots of 10 kittens. And okay, to work out how many kittens there are altogether, we could count them all, or we could know 10 add 10 and we'd get to 20. So rather than doing 2 times 10, we could count them or add the numbers up. So what happens then? Well, when we go up to 3 times 10, 3 lots of 10 kittens, well, now counting them all would take a very long time. Whereas if I knew my 10 times table, then I could simply quite quickly, in a matter of less than a matter of seconds, I could quickly work out how many there are. Go on from more than that, you know, we could have tons and tons of sets of 10 to count, and trying to add it up or trying to count them all would just take a ridiculous amount of time. So instead we use our times table. The second number in it, times 10, is the number of objects that we've got in the group, in this case kittens in the group, and then the number at the start, 1 times 10 or 2 times 10 or 3 times 10, that 1, 2 or 3 is how many of those groups we've got. So from the first one we can see that 1 times 10 is 10, second one 2 times 10 is 20, and the third one 3 times 10 is 30. And what hopefully you'll begin to see is that the number of groups we've got, all we've got to do is put a 0 after it, and that tells us how much there is altogether. So 1 times 10, we put a 1, put a 0 after it, 1 times 10 is 10. 2 times 10, we put a 2, and we get a 0 after it, and we get 20, and so on. So by here, you can see that all we've got to do is put the 0 afterwards, and we get what it is multiplied by 10. Okay, so now the 5 times table, or multiplying by 5, again it gets even harder because we're dealing with small numbers here. So if we were simply adding up all the groups of 5 we had, or counting them all, it would take a much longer amount of time. So in this case, by here we've got 4 groups of 5 apples. Multiplying, we'd be able to do 4 times 5, and if we can do that quickly we can have a quick answer. But the only other way would be to do 5 add 5 add 5 add 5. It would take much longer, and start to make sums more complicated. So let's have a look at if there's any pattern that we can use to make it easier. Well, this time we can't just stick a 0 or what have you on the end. However, if you look at the answers to 1 times 5, 2 times 5, 3 times 5 and so on, if you look at the second number, you'll notice that there's a pattern. The first one ends in 5, the second one ends in 0, the third one ends in 5, the second one ends in 0, and so on. So this pattern will help us to work out our times table. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and so on. So if you can remember that pattern, the fact that the first one ends in a 5, the second one ends in a 0, and so on, that will help you to learn your 5 times table much faster.